Welcome to the Innovation Brief by
Welcome to the
IdeaScale.
Innovation Brief by
the
IdeaScale,
podcast that
where we
helps
help you turn your work team into innovators.
Today
Today
we'll
we're
talk
diving
about
into
using
how
data
the
to drive
lasting
better
impacts of
decisions.
the
Right.
COVID-19
But when it comes to
pandemic
innovation, it
are
often
shaping
feels like
digital transformation.
We're relying on gut instinct.
You know, we all had to
and,
make like rapid
scattered
fire changes
brainstorming
to
sessions.
adapt. And what's interesting
that's
now
a
is that
common
some of those
challenge,
changes are here
especially
to
for
stay.
leaders who are trying
What's
to
fascinating
foster
is
a
that the
culture
pandemic
of
essentially
innovation.
forced us
How do you
into this
move
massive
beyond the
real-time
occasional
experiment, didn't it?
aha
We're seeing the
moment
results
to
play out
a
in
more
some really
structured and
significant ways,
sustainable
especially in
approach?
areas like
Exactly.
remote
So
work
how do
and
we
cybersecurity.
bridge that
Absolutely.
gap?
Right.
How do
So
we make
let's unpack
innovation less
6
about
key
chance
areas where
and
innovation
more
has
about
become
a reliable
absolutely essential in a
process fueled by
post-pandemic
data?
world?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
one
Where should we start?
one increasingly
Well, let's start with
popular
the one that's
solution is
probably top of
data-driven
mind for a lot of our
governance.
listeners.
I've had that
Remote
term
work.
thrown around a
Right,
lot
and remember all the
lately.
back and
But to
forth
be honest,
about whether
I'm not
remote
entirely
work was
sure what it
even
means in a
viable
practical
long-term.
sense.
Sure.
Well, the
Simply put,
pandemic
it
pretty
means
much settled
basing your
that debate.
decisions
It's
on
clear
evidence
that a
rather
lot
than
of work can be done
intuition.
remotely.
Okay.
Instead of
The bigger
relying on
question
gut
now is
feelings
how
or
to make remote
assumptions, you're
work
systematically
truly
gathering
effective
data,
and sustainable.
analyzing
For
it,
sure.
and using those
It's not just about
insights
giving
to
people
guide your
laptops and
innovation
hoping for the
strategy.
best.
So it's about
There's some
bringing
real
that same
challenges that need to be
data-driven
addressed
rigor
Exactly.
that we
For
apply to
example,
other areas of
how
the
do you
business,
maintain a
like
strong company
operations or
culture
marketing,
when
to
everyone
the
is
realm of
dispersed?
innovation.
Precisely, and it's not just about crunching
scheduling
numbers.
and
It's about
workflows
understanding the
across
needs of your
multiple time
customers,
zones?
empowering
And
your
what about tech
employees,
support?
and creating a
in the
feedback
office,
loop
a
that
broken
allows you to
laptop was a
constantly
minor
learn
inconvenience.
and adapt. But for
Now, you
a
mentioned
remote
citizen
worker,
engagement
it
as
can
a
bring their
key
entire
principle
day
of
to a
data-driven
screeching
governance.
halt.
That's a really good
I
point.
can see how
and I
that
imagine
applies
puts
in
a
a
whole lot of
government
pressure on
context.
IT departments.
But how does that translate to a
Absolutely.
business
IT
setting?
has really had
Right,
to
think
step
of
up its
citizen
game over the
engagement
past
in
couple
this
of years.
context
Everything
as
from
capturing the
rolling
collective
out security
intelligence of
patches
both
your
your workforce
workforce
and your customers.
Yeah.
You're
Managing
tapping into a
equipment
vast
upgrades,
reservoir
and
of
they're having to
ideas
do
and
all of this with a
perspectives.
workforce
So it's about
that's
moving
spread out all over
beyond
the
traditional
The
top-down
logistics must be
innovation
mind-boggling.
They really
Yeah,
are.
and
It takes a
embracing
whole
a
new
more
level of
inclusive
planning and
approach.
coordination.
Absolutely.
You want to create
And
an
speaking of
environment where
security, we
everyone
can't
feels
forget about the elephant in
empowered
the
to
room,
contribute their ideas.
cybersecurity.
Whether they're on
You
the
know,
front lines
ransomware
interacting
attacks
with
skyrocketed
customers
during the
or
pandemic.
deep in the
Yes,
trenches
that was a big
developing
concern
new
for a lot of
products.
organizations.
Can you give me
And
a
it's an
concrete
area where
example of how
innovation
a
is
company
mission
might use
critical.
this
Think
citizen
about it.
engagement
With more people
approach
working from
to
home,
drive
often on their own
innovation?
personal
Sure.
devices
Imagine
and
a company
networks,
that's looking to develop a
the
new
potential
product.
weak
Okay.
points
Instead
have
of relying
multiplied
solely on their
exponentially.
internal
It's like we've given
R&D
cyber
team,
criminals a whole new
they
playground.
could use
So
a
how do we
platform
address
like
that? What kind of
IdeaScale
innovation
to
do
solicit
we need to
ideas
see in
and feedback from
cybersecurity?
their entire customer
Well, for starters,
base.
we need to be
Interesting.
much
They could
more
ask questions
proactive
like,
about
what problems are
anticipating
you
threats,
facing, or
we
what
can't just wait
features
for
would you
something
love
to
to see
happen
in a
and
new
then
product?
react.
That's a
We need
great
to be
example.
thinking several steps ahead
And by
and coming up with
analyzing
what
that
I like to call
feedback data,
outside the box
they could uncover
security
unmet
solutions.
needs, identify
give an
trends,
example of what
and
that might
ultimately
look like
develop
in
a
practice?
product
Sure.
that's truly aligned
One
with
area
what their
that's really
customers
gaining
want.
traction
Exactly,
is
and
zero
that's just
trust
one
security.
example.
Right.
The
It's a model that
possibilities are really
assumes
endless
that
when you
no
start thinking
user
about
or
how to
device can be
leverage the
trusted by
collective
default,
intelligence of your
even those
workforce
within the
and your
organization's
customer base.
network.
This all
So
sounds
it's
very
all about
promising,
verifying
but I
every
imagine it can be
access
quite
request, no matter
challenging
where
to
it's coming
implement in
from.
practice.
That makes sense.
Sure.
It's
Companies
like that
are
old
already
saying, trust
drowning
but
in
verify.
data. How
Exactly.
do you even
And another key
begin to
area where
sort
we're
through
seeing a
it all
lot of innovation
and turn it
is
into
in the
actionable
use of
insights?
artificial
That's where a
intelligence
platform
and
like
machine learning
IdeaScale
to
can
detect
really
and
make a
respond to
difference.
threats
Okay.
in
It
real
provides
time.
a structured way
These
to collect,
technologies
analyze,
can
and
act
act
on
on
ideas
massive
from
amounts
both
of data to
employees and
identify
customers.
patterns and
It helps
anomalies
you
that
cut
might
through the
indicate
noise
an
and focus
attack.
on the ideas
So it's
that
about
have the
using
most
technology
potential.
to stay one
So
step
it's not
ahead
just
of
a
the bad
suggestion
guys.
box where
That's a good way
ideas
to
go
put
to
it.
die.
Right.
And
It's
another
actually a
big shift
system
we've
that helps
seen
you
is the
turn
move
those
toward
ideas
cloud-based
into
security
concrete
solutions.
innovation
This
initiatives.
makes it easier to manage
Exactly,
security
and that's where the
across a
principle of
distributed
continuous
workforce,
improvement
and it
comes in.
also
Okay.
gives
IdeaScale
organizations
allows you to
access
track
the
the
latest
progress
security
of
technologies
ideas,
and expertise.
gather data
So
on
it's
their
about
performance,
leveraging
and
the
make
power of the
adjustments
cloud
along the way.
to enhance
It's about
security.
creating a
That's
feedback
interesting.
loop
You
that
know,
allows
it's
you
clear
to
that the
constantly
pandemic
learn
really
and
forced
evolve.
businesses
I'm
to
starting to
think
see how this all
differently
ties
about
together.
how they use
You're
technology.
essentially creating a
And one
culture
area where we saw a
of
huge
data-driven
surge in
innovation
adoption
where
was
everyone
apps.
feels empowered
Absolutely.
to contribute.
Apps became
and ideas
essential
are
for
constantly
everything
being
from
tested and
contactless
refined
ordering and
based on
curbside
real-world
pickup
feedback.
to internal
Precisely, it's
communication and
about
collaboration.
moving from a
They
culture
really
of
help
intuition
businesses to keep
to a
running
culture of
during a
evidence.
very challenging
And it's
time.
about recognizing
it's safe
that
to
the
say
best
that apps are
ideas
here to
can
stay.
often come from unexpected
But what are some of the
places.
key
This reminds
considerations
me
for
of something we
businesses
hear a
when it
lot
comes
these
to
days.
developing and
The
implementing
idea
apps?
of
Well, one of the biggest things is
democratizing
user-centered
innovation.
design.
Is that essentially
You
what
know,
we're
it's
talking
not
about
enough
here?
to just
Absolutely.
create an app
Data-driven
that's
governance,
functional.
especially when
It also needs
supported
to
by
be
a platform like
intuitive and easy to
IdeaScale,
use.
really
You
does
need to think about
democratize the
how
innovation
people are
process.
actually
It
going
breaks
to
down
interact
silos
with
and
the app,
empowers
what
everyone
their
to
needs
contribute,
are, and what
regardless
will
of
make
their
their
role or
experience
level
as
within
seamless
the
as possible.
organization.
Otherwise,
Which
they'll
makes
just
sense,
abandon
right?
it
I mean,
and go
the
find
people on the
something
front
else that
lines
works
dealing
better
with
for them.
customers
That's a
or
great point.
working within specific
It's all about
processes.
creating a
They
positive
often
user
have the best
experience.
insights
Right?
into
But
what
how
needs
do
to
you
change or
actually do
improve.
that?
Right,
What are
they're
some
the
of
ones
key
closest to the
principles
problem, so they're
of
often closest
user-centered
to the
design?
solutions
Well,
as
first
well.
and foremost,
But their
you need to
voices
involve
often go leaders in the
unheard
design
in
process
traditional
from the very
top-down
beginning.
innovation
Don't just
models.
make assumptions about what
it
they
sounds
want
like this
or need.
approach could
Get their
be a
feedback,
game changer for
conduct
businesses that are
usability
struggling
testing,
to
and
keep up with the
iterate
pace of
based
change
on
in
their
today's
input.
market. So it's about
But are there
listening
any
to your
potential
users and
downsides
really
or
understanding their
challenges that we should be
perspective.
aware of?
Exactly.
We all know data can
And
be
another key
misused or
principle is to
misinterpreted.
focus on
That's a
simplicity
great
and
question,
clarity.
and it's important to remember that
apps
data
should
is
be
a
easy to
tool.
navigate
Like
and
any tool, it can
understand,
be used
even
for
for
good or
first-time
for ill.
users.
The key
Avoid
is
using
to have
jargon
the right
or
mindset,
technical
the
terms
right
that
ethical
people might not be
framework
familiar
for
with,
using data responsibly.
and make sure the app's layout
Data-driven
is clean
governance
and uncluttered.
shouldn't be about
It
blindly
sounds like it's all about
following the
striking
numbers.
that balance
it's about
between
using data
functionality
to
and
inform human
usability.
decisions
It
to
is,
augment
and it's
our
also important to
judgment,
think
not
about
replace it.
accessibility.
So it's
You want to
about
make
finding
sure
that
that your
balance
app is
between
accessible to
data
people with
and
disabilities
intuition
so that
between the
everyone
objective
can
and the
benefit
subjective.
from it.
That's a
Exactly.
really important
And that's where
point.
strong
Yeah.
leadership
And it's
comes
something
in.
that often
Leaders
gets
who
overlooked.
understand the power
does.
of data, but also
But it's something that we need to
recognize
be
the
much
importance
more
of human
mindful
insight
of,
and
especially
ethical
as apps become
considerations.
increasingly
They set the
integrated
tone for
into
how
our
data
lives.
is used
Okay,
within the
so we've talked
organization.
about the importance of
It sounds like
user-centered
data-driven
design.
governance is
But
not
what about
just
the
a set of
technical side of
tools or
things?
processes.
What are
It's
some
really
of
a
the key
cultural
trends
shift that
in
requires a
app
different way of
development that
thinking about
businesses
innovation.
should be
It
aware of?
absolutely is, and
Well,
it's
one
a
of the
shift
biggest
that's happening
trends
right now.
is the rise
Companies that
of
embrace
low
this
code
approach
and no code
that empower their
platforms.
teams with data
These platforms
and tools
allow
like
people
IdeaScale.
with little or
They're
no
the ones who are
coding
going to
experience
thrive
in the years to
to
come.
create their
It's about
own
moving from a
apps,
culture
which is
of,
really
let's say, gut
democratizing
feel
app development.
to a culture of
interesting. But it's no longer
evidence-based
just the domain
decision-making
of software
from
engineers.
operating in
Right.
silos
No,
to
anyone with an
fostering
idea
collaboration and
can
collective
potentially
intelligence.
bring
And
it to life,
ultimately,
even
it's
if they
about
don't have a
recognizing
technical background.
that
That's
innovation
amazing. It
can
really
come
opens
from
up a world of
anywhere, from
possibilities.
anyone in the
But
organization.
what about
as
for
long as they have
businesses
the
that
right data
need
and the right
more
platform to
complex
share
or
their ideas?
customized
That's a great way to
apps?
put it. And that's
Well,
where
for those
IdeaScale
businesses,
really
there are
shines. It gives
still
you the
plenty
tools
of
and the
options.
framework
We're
to
seeing a
embrace
lot
this
of innovation
data-driven
in
approach
areas like
to
cloud
turn your
computing,
workforce into
artificial
innovators,
intelligence, and
ultimately
machine
to achieve
learning,
greater
which are
success.
all being
So
used
to
to
wrap
create more
things up,
powerful and
It sounds
sophisticated
like
apps.
So it's about
data-driven
choosing the
governance
right
isn't just
tools
some
and
trendy
technologies for the
buzzword.
job.
It's a fundamental
Exactly,
shift in
and it's
how
about
businesses
finding the
operate and
right
innovate.
development partners who can help
Absolutely
you
is, and
navigate
it's a shift that's
the
happening right now.
ever-evolving
Companies that
landscape of
embrace
app
this
development.
approach, that empower their teams
You know,
with
speaking of
data
evolving
and tools like
landscapes,
IdeaScale,
let's
they're the
move on
ones
to
who are
something
gonna
that I
thrive
think
in
we all
this
have a
rapidly
love-hate
changing world.
relationship
It's
with.
about recognizing that in
Meetings.
today's
Oh, yes,
hyper-competitive
meetings.
landscape,
The pandemic
the
definitely
ability to
changed
harness
the way
data,
we think about
analyze
meetings,
it
didn't it?
effectively,
All those
and
video
then
calls,
translate
all that
those
screen
insights into
time.
action
It was a
is
whole
what
new
separates
world.
the leaders from the
It
laggards.
really was.
Precisely.
And
And it's
I
about
think it forced
understanding
us
that
to
innovation
reevaluate
isn't
the
some
role of
mystical
meetings in our
force
work
that strikes
lives.
randomly.
You know, do we really need to have this
Can we
meeting?
achieve the same
cultivated, and
outcome
yes, driven
with an
by
email or a
data.
quick phone call?
So for
I
those
think a lot of us
listening
realized
who
that
are
we were
ready
having
to
way
take
too
the
many
leap
meetings
to
that weren't really
embrace
necessary.
data-driven
Absolutely.
governance
And that's a good
and turn
thing,
their work team
because
into
it frees up
innovators,
time for people to
What's the next
focus on
step?
more important
It's
work.
simple.
But of
Head
course,
over
there
to
are still times when meetings are
ideascale.com and
essential.
book a demo.
So how can we
You
make
can
sure
even
that
start
our
a free
meetings
trial
are
to
as
see how the
effective and
platform works
productive
for
as
yourself.
possible?
It's a game
Well, I
changer,
think one of the
trust me.
most
I
important
love that a game
things
changer.
is
And
to have
listeners,
a
be
clear
sure to
purpose
subscribe
for the
to the
meeting.
Innovation Brief
What
by
are you trying to
IdeaScale
achieve?
for new
What are the
episodes every
key
Tuesday
outcomes
and
you're
Friday.
hoping for?
We'll keep you up to
Once
date on
you
the
know
latest
that you
trends
can
in
create an
innovation and
agenda
how to
that's
harness the power
focused
of
and
data to drive
relevant.
success.
And make sure that everyone
And, hey,
attending the
while you're
meeting
at it,
knows
leave a
what the
comment
agenda is
below. Let us know
beforehand.
your thoughts
Exactly.
on
That
using
way they
data
can
to
come
fuel
prepared to
innovation. What are
contribute.
your biggest challenges?
And it's also
What are you most
important to be
excited about?
mindful
We'd
of
love to hear
time.
from you. Until next time,
Don't let
keep
meetings
innovating.
drag on and on. Set a time limit and stick to it.
And I think it's also important to be respectful of people's time zones, especially if you have a global team.
Yes, that's a really important point. No one wants to be on a call at 2 a.m. And speaking of time zones, I think it's worth talking about Zoom fatigue for a minute. You know that feeling of exhaustion that you get after being on video calls all day long?
Oh, yes. I think we've all experienced that at some point.
It's a real phenomenon, and it's something that we need to be aware of and take steps to mitigate.
So what are some things that we can do to combat Zoom fatigue?
Well, one simple thing is to take breaks throughout the day. Get up and move around, step away from your screen, and give your eyes a rest.
And I think it's also important to be mindful of how many video calls you're scheduling in a day.
Absolutely. Don't overload yourself or your team. Try to find a balance between video calls, phone calls, and email communication. And when you are on a video call, try to make it as engaging as possible. Use visuals, share your screen, and encourage participation from everyone.
That's great advice. So we've talked about remote work, cybersecurity apps, and meetings. What's next on our list of key areas for innovation?
Let's talk about the rise of digital products.
Okay, so what are some of the key trends that you're seeing in this space?
Well, one of the biggest trends is the shift from physical to digital products. We saw this really accelerate during the pandemic with a surge in demand for everything from ebooks and online courses to virtual events and digital gift cards.
And I think it's safe to say that this trend is only going to continue.
It is, and it's not just about creating new digital products either. It's about finding ways to enhance existing products with digital features.
Can you give us an example?
Sure, let's say you're a car manufacturer. You could add digital features to your cars like in-car entertainment systems, navigation systems, and even self-driving capabilities.
So it's about blurring the lines between the physical and the digital.
Exactly. And it's about creating a more seamless and integrated customer experience.
I see. So what are some of the key challenges that businesses face when it comes to developing and launching digital products?
Well, one challenge is simply keeping up with the pace of change. Technology is evolving so rapidly that it can be difficult to stay ahead of the curve.
And it's not just about the technology itself. It's also about understanding how consumer behavior is changing and what people are looking for in digital products.
That's right. You need to be able to anticipate what your customers will want next and be ready to adapt quickly.
So it's all about agility and responsiveness.
It is, and it's about having a strong innovation culture within your organization. You need to create an environment where people feel comfortable experimenting, taking risks, and coming up with new ideas.
And that's where IdeaScale comes in.
Right. IdeaScale can help you turn your work team into innovators with its powerful innovation management platform. It's all about harnessing the collective intelligence of your team to drive meaningful change.
Exactly. We make it easy to collect, evaluate, and implement ideas from everyone in your organization, from the front lines to the C-suite. So if you're ready to unlock the innovative potential of your organization, visit ideascale.com today to book a demo for a free trial. You won't regret it.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Innovation Brief for more insights like these delivered right to you every Tuesday and Friday.
And be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What resonated with you most from today's deep dive? What are your biggest challenges when it comes to innovation? We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep innovating. It really is fascinating how quickly consumer behavior can shift. And you know what it means for businesses.
Yeah, it's like the pandemic hit the fast forward button on digital adoption, right?
Yeah.
And now there's no going back.
Exactly. And that means businesses need to be thinking about digital transformation in a whole new way. It's not just about, digitizing existing processes or launching a few new digital products. It's about fundamentally rethinking how you operate and how you interact with your customers.
So it's a much bigger and more strategic undertaking than maybe some businesses initially realized?
It is, and it requires a different mindset. You need to be willing to embrace change, to experiment, to take risks. And you need to be able to move quickly and adapt to new challenges as they arise.
That sounds like a tall order. Where do you even begin?
Well, I think the first step is to really understand your customers. What are their needs? What are their pain points? What are they looking for in a digital experience? Once you have a good understanding of that, you can start to think about how you can use digital technology to create value for them.
And that value could take many different forms, right? It could be about convenience, personalization, efficiency, or even just entertainment.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what resonates with your customers and then delivering it in a way that's seamless and engaging.
So it's really about putting the customer at the center of your digital transformation strategy.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that digital transformation is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of continuous improvement.
So you need to be constantly learning, adapting, and innovating.
That's right. And that's why it's so important to have a strong innovation culture within your organization.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of customer centricity and continuous innovation. But what are some of the specific things that businesses can do to foster a culture of innovation?
Well, one of the most important things is to create a safe space for people to share their ideas.
You mean a space where they don't feel like they're going to be judged or ridiculed if they come up with something that's outside the box?
Exactly. People need to feel comfortable taking risks, knowing that it's okay to fail. Because failure is often a part of the innovation process.
That's a good point. You learn more from your mistakes than from your successes.
You do. And if you're afraid to fail, you're never going to try anything new.
So how do you create that kind of environment? How do you encourage people to be more creative and innovative?
Well, I think it starts with leadership. Leaders need to set the tone by being open to new ideas, by encouraging experimentation, and by celebrating both successes and failures.
So it's about leading by example.
It is. And it's also about creating structures and processes that support innovation. For example, you might create a dedicated innovation team or set aside time for brainstorming and ideation.
And I imagine it's also important to provide people with the resources they need to be innovative.
Absolutely. That means giving them access to the latest tools and technologies, providing them with training and development opportunities, and connecting them with mentors and experts who can help them bring their ideas to life.
It's about empowering people to be innovative.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing and rewarding innovation. When people see that their ideas are being valued and that they're making a real difference, they're more likely to keep coming up with new ideas.
It creates a positive feedback loop.
It does. And it can lead to a truly transformative culture of innovation within your organization.
You know, as we're talking about all of this, I'm realizing that innovation isn't just about technology. It's about people.
You're absolutely right. Technology is simply a tool. It's the people who use that tool who are the real drivers of innovation.
And that's why it's so important to invest in your people, to empower them, and to create a culture where they can thrive.
I couldn't agree more. Because at the end of the day, innovation is about human ingenuity. It's about our ability to imagine and create new possibilities. And that's something that we should all be excited about.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the technical details, but we shouldn't lose sight of the human element.
Exactly. Because it's the human element that makes innovation so powerful. It's what allows us to solve problems, to create value, and to make the world a better place.
I love that. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay, where are you headed with this?
Well, we've talked a lot about the challenges and opportunities of digital transformation, but what about the potential risks? Are there any downsides to all of this innovation?
That's a really important question, and it's one that we need to be thinking carefully about. Because while innovation can bring tremendous benefits, it can also have unintended consequences.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's take artificial intelligence. AI has the potential to revolutionize many industries, but it also raises some serious ethical concerns. For example, if we're not careful, AI could be used to create biased algorithms that discriminate against certain groups of people.
That's a valid concern, and it's something that we need to be very aware of as we develop and deploy AI systems.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that AI is used in a way that's fair, equitable, and beneficial to society as a whole.
And I imagine that there are similar ethical considerations with other emerging technologies like biotechnology and nanotechnology.
There are. And it's important to have open and honest conversations about these issues so that we can develop ethical frameworks and guidelines for the responsible use of these technologies.
So it's not just about innovating for the sake of innovating. It's about innovating in a way that's ethical and sustainable.
Exactly. We need to be thinking about the long-term implications of our innovations and making sure that they're aligned with our values.
And that brings us to another important point, which is the need for diversity and inclusion in the innovation process.
You're right. If we want to create truly innovative solutions, we need to make sure that we're drawing on the widest possible range of perspectives.
Because if everyone involved in the innovation process comes from the same background and has the same experiences, you're going to end up with a very narrow view of the world.
Exactly. Diversity of thought is essential for innovation, and that means creating an environment where everyone feels welcome, respected, and valued, regardless of their race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or any other dimension of diversity.
So it's about creating a culture of inclusivity.
It is, and it's about recognizing that everyone has something unique to contribute.
I love that. So we've talked about the need for ethical considerations, diversity and inclusion, and a customer-centric approach to innovation. Are there any other key takeaways that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yes, I think there's one more that's really important, and that's the need for collaboration.
What do you mean by that?
Well, in today's complex and rapidly changing world, no one company or organization can go it alone. We need to be collaborating with each other, with universities, with research institutions, and even with our competitors.
So it's about breaking down silos and working together to solve shared challenges.
Exactly, because the biggest challenges we face as a society, like climate change, poverty, and disease, are too complex for any one entity to solve on its own.
We need to pool our resources, share our knowledge, and work together to create a better future.
I couldn't agree more. Collaboration is the key to unlocking the full potential of innovation.
That's a powerful message. And it's a great place to end this part of our deep dive. But before we move on, I want to remind our listeners that if you're looking for a way to foster a culture of innovation within your organization, IdeaScale can help.
That's right. IdeaScale provides a powerful innovation management platform that makes it easy to collect, evaluate, and implement ideas from everyone in your organization.
So if you're ready to turn your work team into innovators, visit IdeaScale.com today to book a demo for a free trial.
You won't regret it. And be sure to subscribe to the Innovation Brief for more insights like these delivered right to you every Tuesday and Friday.
And don't forget to leave us a comment below. We love hearing from our listeners.
Now, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some of the most exciting trends on the horizon.
So you're saying we should be looking beyond our own company walls when it comes to innovation.
Absolutely. Some of the most exciting breakthroughs are happening at the intersection of different disciplines and industries. Think about like the convergence of artificial intelligence in healthcare or the use of blockchain technology in supply chain management. These are areas where collaboration is essential.
That's a great point. So how can businesses make sure they're plugged into these broader innovation ecosystems?
Well, for starters, they need to be actively engaging with other organizations, whether it's through partnerships, joint ventures, or, simply by participating in industry events and conferences.
It's about building relationships and sharing knowledge.
Exactly. And it's also about being open to new ideas and perspectives, even from unexpected sources. Sometimes the most innovative solutions come from people who are outside of your, immediate industry or field.
So it's about having a curious and open mind.
It is, and it's about being willing to experiment and take risks, because the truth is you never know where the next great idea is going to come from.
That's a great reminder for all of us. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on one final point that you mentioned earlier, the need for continuous learning and adaptation.
Right. In today's rapidly changing world, it's more important than ever for businesses to embrace a culture of lifelong learning.
So it's not enough to just learn something once and then assume you're good to go.
Not at all. You need to be constantly updating your knowledge and skills to stay ahead of the curve.
So how can businesses foster a culture of continuous learning within their organizations?
Well, there are a lot of different ways to do this. You could offer employees access to online courses and training programs, encourage them to attend industry events and conferences, or even create internal mentorship programs.
It's about providing people with the opportunities and resources they need to grow and develop.
Exactly. And it's about creating a culture where learning is valued and rewarded.
So it's about making continuous learning a part of your company's DNA.
I like that because at the end of the day, the most successful businesses will be the ones that are constantly learning, adapting, and evolving.
And that's where IdeaScale can really make a difference. Our innovation management platform helps businesses create a culture of continuous learning and innovation, enabling them to turn their work teams into innovators.
We make it easy for businesses to collect, evaluate, and implement ideas from everyone in their organization, fostering a collaborative and innovative environment.
So if you're ready to embrace the power of continuous learning and innovation, visit IdeaScale.com today to book a demo for a free trial.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Innovation Brief for more insights like these delivered right to you every Tuesday and Friday. We'd love to hear from you, so let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What resonated with you most from today's Deep Dive? What are your biggest challenges when it comes to innovation?
Until next time, keep innovating.